I still remember the day it all went down. It was supposed to be a perfect day at the new park, the dedication ceremony for the Rainbow Heights Playground, a facility designed to be a sanctuary for kids of all abilities. For months, the community had been buzzing about it. There were newspaper articles, social media posts, and a steady stream of excited families talking about how this park was going to be different, how it was going to be the new heart of the neighborhood. I should have been proud to see it all come to life. But I didn't know that by the end of the day, everything would change, and I would see the very worst in some people. I was standing there, near the entrance, checking the safety features, watching as Sarah, the park manager, greeted families and gave them a tour. Sarah was this amazing, warm-hearted woman, a former pediatric therapist who had put everything into making sure this place was perfect. She had that rare combination of professional dedication and a genuine love for the kids who would benefit from the park. We'd worked so closely together, every step of the way. This park wasn't just some project, it was her life's work. But that morning, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The Oak Haven community was known for its exclusive VY, and not everyone was thrilled about a public playground like this being built right next door. The park had been a point of contention for some of the residents of Oak Haven Estates, the kind of neighborhood where the houses were so big, you couldn't help but wonder how anyone could possibly fill up all that space. But Karen Albright, she was the worst. She wasn't just opposed to the park. She hated it. From the very beginning, she'd been raising a fuss, even going so far as to call it a blight on the neighborhood. She said it would ruin property values, attract the wrong kind of people, and disturb the peace of her exclusive little bubble. I'd seen her at the city council meeting, spitting out her usual venom, saying that children with disabilities shouldn't be integrated into public spaces. Can you believe that? She went on and on about how it would attract vagrants, and I'll never forget her smug, self-righteous tone when she said that. My blood still boils thinking about it. But the thing was, she had lost that fight. The council voted overwhelmingly in favor of the park, and with that, the park's future was sealed. The project moved ahead, despite Karen's best efforts to block it with legal challenges and constant complaints. She was furious, and I knew that meant it wasn't over. That morning, as I stood there with Sarah, things were calm. The kids were laughing, the sound of their voices carrying in the air. You could feel the excitement building for the big ceremony. Everything seemed perfect. Too perfect. Then it happened. It started as a low rumble. I thought maybe it was just a truck passing by, but it quickly became something far worse. The laughter stopped. Suddenly, a terrifying sound filled the air, a loud, sickening crack, followed by a horrible metallic groan. Then, the playground slide, the centerpiece of the park, the rainbow ascent, just collapsed. The entire structure twisted, buckled, and came crashing down with a deafening roar. Children screamed. Parents screamed. It felt like everything was happening in slow motion, like I was watching a nightmare unfold right in front of me. I froze for a moment, my heart racing, my mind trying to process what I was seeing, and then I snapped back into action. I knew this wasn't just an accident. I could tell, right away, that something was wrong. The way it had collapsed, it wasn't like a simple structural failure. There was a precision to it, a deliberate force behind it. I could see the twisted metal, the shattered plastic, the children trapped beneath the debris. My first instinct was to make sure everyone was safe, but even as I was barking orders to the emergency team, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was no random accident. I started scanning the wreckage, looking for anything that seemed out of place. And then I saw something small, something metallic, just glinting at the base of the main pillar. It was a tiny fragment, but I knew right away that it wasn't supposed to be there. That was the moment I realized this was sabotage. I rushed to the wreckage, carefully avoiding disturbing the potential EVY. And then I saw her, Karen Albright. She was standing at the edge of the park, watching from a distance. She wasn't helping. She wasn't panicked. She wasn't even shocked. In fact, I swear I saw a hint of satisfaction in her eyes, like she was pleased. It didn't make sense. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just a random act of vandalism. No, this was personal. I had a gut feeling, one that I couldn't ignore, that Karen was involved. But I needed proof. So, I began digging. It didn't take long before I uncovered something disturbing. A whistleblower, someone who had worked with JD Engineering Consultants, came forward with a tip. He said he had seen Karen meeting with Arthur Jennings, a disgraced engineer, on multiple occasions. They'd been discussing weaknesses in the playground's design. He'd overheard them talking about making it look like an accident. Jennings had even tried to convince him to falsify data. It was all starting to come together. I didn't waste any time. I ran the background check on Jennings, and sure enough, there was a pattern of unethical behavior. He'd been fired from multiple jobs, and his license had been revoked in another state. But here he was, working for Karen, ready to help her with her plan. The more I dug, the clearer it became Karen had been orchestrating this from the start. She had manipulated Jennings into planting a remote detonation device in the playground structure, specifically designed to cause the collapse. She didn't care about the children. She didn't care about the damage. She only cared about one thing, making sure this symbol of inclusion ever existed. The thing that kept haunting me, though, was how cold she was. After everything, when we confronted her, she didn't even flinch. She tried to act outraged, like she had no idea what we were talking about. She tried to pretend she was just a concerned community member, but I could see right through her. When we arrested her, her smug, arrogant face drained of all color. She didn't say anything at first, but then, when she finally spoke, it was like listening to someone justify pure evil. She said, and I quote, "I was merely restoring balance." She truly believed she was doing something righteous, like the lives of these children didn't matter, just so her pristine little corner of the world could stay untouched. It was like she thought she was protecting something sacred, but the only thing she was protecting was her twisted view of the world, one where disabled children had no place. Karen was charged with multiple federal felonies, including domestic terrorism, conspiracy to commit a hate crime, and the use of an explosive device. Arthur Jennings was caught trying to flee the state, and the executives at Oak Haven Premier Properties, Karen's partners in the land grab scheme, were also indicted. The trial was long and it wasn't easy, but in the end, the justice system did its job. Karen was sentenced to life in prison. Jennings got 30 years. And the executives? Well, they'll be spending a long time behind bars too. As for the park, we rebuilt it. We made it stronger, safer, and even more beautiful than before. The Rainbow Ascent returned, with new safety features, and the kids were back in action. It was a victory for justice, but more importantly, it was a victory for the kids. I still sit the park every now and then, standing there, watching the children run and play. It's bittersweet. We lost a lot, that day lives were changed, families were broken. But at least we came together, and in the end, we stood up for what was right. Now, I know this story won't change everyone's mind. There are still people out there like Karen, who can't see the value in every human life, who can't see the beauty in inclusion. But if you ask me, those people, they're the ones who lost. So, I ask you, what do you think? Was justice served? Or is there something deeper we need to address in our communities? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it.